The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
We are back again. We did it. Chris.
I'm Aaron. We're back another week, another billionaire in space.
Right. Did he make it?
Is this what we do now?
Well, I mean, did we talk about Branson really didn't go to space? He went space adjacent. Yeah. Did Bezos actually get to space?
No, he just touched. He went and looked at space.
So he did what Branson did, space adjacent. Then we got to define.
All of it.
Then we have to define what going to space is. I feel by the second time. Okay, maybe we're not going. Call it. You're going to the furthest reaches of the atmosphere.
What happened to is the stratosphere not actually a thing? Is that one of those science terms that got phased out?
Well, that's where planes fly.
Planes fly in the stratosphere?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then so the upper edge of the stratosphere would be.
I believe it's the ionosphere.
The ionosphere. Very nice. I like that. That's.
That is between the stratosphere and space, I believe.
No, I believe you're right. It's not one of those things that stuck with me. A layer of Earth's atmosphere that contains a high concentration of ions and free electrons and is able to reflect radio waves. It lies above the mesosphere.
Oh.
And extends from about 50 to 600 miles above the Earth's surface.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's...
So ionosphere, that's the one.
Damn near space to me.
I think that's where Bezos went. It was like 500 miles high was where Branson went, right?
Yeah. Because planes fly at like 6 miles. Whatever 30,000 feet is. Yeah, that's like...
Okay.
Yeah, so... Is he just going up there to figure out if drones can get up there? Can we fly the drones up here?
I think ultimately his mission seems to be... He's got his eyes on Mars, like many others do. And he even talked about... humanity expanding into the solar system.
It's all R&D for Amazon. Can we deliver here?
The solar system can easily support 1 trillion humans. If we had 1 trillion humans, we could have 1,000 Einsteins and 1,000 Mozarts. We don't even have one of those right now. Bezos, slow down.
Yeah.
We're all out of Einsteins and Mozarts. I don't know if you... I don't know where you...
Watch the news lately.
Jeff. Yeah. And unlimited for all practical purposes, resources and solar power. More people doesn't automatically equate to more resources. Actually, more people equates to less resources unless you have some of those people, figure out ways how to squeeze more out of your current resources or find new resources. But I get his general point there. But I don't know. Like
Amazon's already dominated the planet.
Well, look, this makes
next stop space.
This is kind of on brand for Bezos, right? How do you make something better? Expand it. Just keep expanding.
Right.
Just go just everywhere. Just make it everything. How do you make humanity better? More people. Put more people and put them everywhere.
That is where him
Every
and I
planet.
fundamentally disagree.
Yeah. I see less evidence for that in the world. So I don't know. I guess it's nice to have somebody that actually talks about inspirational stuff like this. It's unfortunate that it's Bezos because he's not a very real person. Like I was going to say personable, but like I'm not even sure he's human.
I think his brother has to shave his head, or he
home.
does it because Jeff's his brother.
Yeah, yeah. He does it out of solidarity.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, that's part of the thing is that it seems so humorless. Like how can he not at least poke a little bit of fun at the fact that of what he's doing, of dumping billions of dollars so he can take this joyride.
So him and his brother can, like I said, do their flight suits say Dale and Brennan on them? Like this is some stepbrother shit.
Well, so they do have flight suits. They're just plain blue, but they're a little bit of a get up.
Holy Santa Claus shit.
But I just wish that we had a billionaire that had enough sense of humor about themselves to put on a Star Trek costume and sit
Elon
there
would.
and go make it so.
Elon would.
But Bezos is the one. Bezos has the head for it. He's got the dome.
Yeah, they got the Patrick Stewart look going on.
Like, really, dump another couple,
his brother would have to say
$100,000 into that into the design and give yourself a little captain's chair.
No, but his brother would have to say it because he'd make it so number one. He'd have to say
that's what I was saying. His brother would be number one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the first mate.
Yeah. He'd have him put on a fake beard.
That's right. It's Riker. Well, then he can't have the shaved head.
That's true.
Then he can't have the homage to his brother.
That's right. He would just look like
come on, Jeff, it's my turn to be Picard.
Guy. What was the Inside the Actors Studio guy's
James
name?
Lipton.
James Lipton, thank you. He would look like James Lipton. I don't know. That's all I'm saying is that we need more cosplay both in our billionaires and in our space travel.
Yes.
And that's like, I'm not trying to say that like Elon is a great person or any better or worse than Bezos or Branson or whoever. I just appreciate the little bit of flair. I like the fact that he's weird. I don't know if I like him. I think he seems like I don't know how cool of a dude he would be to hang out with, but
yeah, he seems.
I appreciate that he seems to be authentically himself.
Elon goes in that category of person with me who seems like they would be exhausting to hang out with.
Yes,
like he would be your friend you saw once a year because that's all you could take.
Bezos would be fine because he would just be boring and he would pay for everything.
Yeah,
like Elon. Yeah.
So you got to hand it to Elon and Branson.
Elon
and
would
Branson
be like
both know that there's a little element of sideshow.
Yes.
Like there's a little bit of P.T. Barnum in both of them. Like, yeah, I'm smart and I'm rich, but hey, isn't this cool? Like, I could see that being an Elon tweet.
Yeah, Bezos is cut more from he's more like Facebook dude.
So Zuckerberg?
Yeah, they're very serious disruptors.
Oh, they technically are. Were.
Oh yeah, they are the actual reasons why disrupting is a word in our current language.
Yes.
I was looking he had a quote on, maybe it's not in this one. I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer because you guys paid for all this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart very much.
Oh, that is an actual quote?
Balls! Yeah.
No shit.
That is an actual quote.
Honesty
balls on this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for paying for my trip to space.
Yeah. Thank you, Amazon employees. I am now going to space, and you're not even getting your ass to the doctor because you don't have health insurance.
You know, Amazon is famous for letting people go in their warehouses on day 89.
Oh, yeah, before they hit the insurance, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it was a practice that they used to save money. Because, you don't have to pay those benefits.
Median wage at Amazon, $29,000, according to this article.
But my question would be where? The warehouse, the corporate offices.
Yeah.
Amazon's a pretty broad term.
Well, he did give away a couple $1 million or a couple $100 million as well.
To who?
Well, I'm kind of confused on. I guess he has some sort of award that he gives out, some sort of humanitarian award.
The I'm a super rich guy award.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this extra $100 million award.
But I can write it off if I give it away.
The sum is split between Chef Jose Andres and CNN personality and social entrepreneur Van Jones. Okay, what's a social entrepreneur?
Who knows?
What's that mean?
People are making up all kinds of shit nowadays.
Well, I mean, let's break this down. Like, an entrepreneur is somebody who starts businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, a social, I guess we might be able to find the definition of social entrepreneur by looking at the flip side. What would be an antisocial entrepreneur? Do they normally not talk to people? I don't know how you would have so a social entrepreneur seems oxymoronic because...
Oh, you wanted the definition? It's so obnoxious.
What is it?
I feel like Liz Lemon. My eyeballs are going to pop out of my head from rolling back.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. A person who establishes an enterprise with the aim of solving social problems or effecting social change.
Point to it. Point to Van Jones. Point on the map to where you have affected social change that has changed people's lives.
He works for CNN.
I don't know how you... Yeah.
It sounds like something made up by somebody 20 years younger than us to make them feel good about themselves.
Or Van Jones, possibly.
Yeah, right.
Well, apparently, though, this money doesn't go directly to them. It gets donated in their names to charities and nonprofits of their choice.
Because Jeff cannot write it off if he straight up doesn't give it to charity. But
right.
Which, by the way, everyone who complains he doesn't pay taxes, that's how. It's not like he doesn't have any tax liability. If you have enough stuff to write off, your tax liability gets lowered.
Right. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily a bad system. It's just, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, he's paying no taxes. I mean, you're not knowing about all of the money that, granted, there were business expenses and things like that, but you're not hearing about all of the stuff that he gave to things like charity, so he could have no tax liability. I guess my point is, guys like that, when you think they're not giving anything, they are. You just don't know about it.
Right. Yeah, it's not like he's dodging tax liability the way Trump and his companies did.
Yeah.
By just claiming that they're not making any money. Amazon cannot claim to the government, oh, it's crazy. It's crazy, guys. Like, overhead was just insane. Like, yeah, I don't know. Going to have to close some more warehouses, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that was the game that Trump was basically playing, go into some place, cause a big stir, get investors riled up, take their money, then claim the business failed because of other people, and take the tax write-off and go to the next.
Or you could make it fail yourself. He's a fucking
vampire.
Still take the tax write-off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be other people's failure. You can just have your own unique failure.
Yeah, you could drive it into the ground purposely and still take it.
But yeah. He was just doing The Producers over and over again.
Yes.
Everywhere he went, he was putting on a show called The Producers, and people were like, oh, I've never seen this one before.
coming next to your city. What was it? Springtime for Hitler?
Yeah. So he also, Bezos took with him his brother and 2 other people, one who I've seen referred to by a number of different names, Wally Funk, Wallace Funk.
Like the robot?
Mary Funk, Mary Wallace Funk.
Is it just a rando that Bezos picked so he could get in touch with the common man?
No, this was a person that actually trained for the space program. She was a pilot in the 60s, trained for the space program, but didn't get picked because they were looking at it as more of a man's job. So she's kind of considered to be passed over. But I didn't get it clear. I don't know if there was not a lot of consistency in the reporting of her pronouns, or I didn't know if she's trans or he. Very unclear.
I remember hearing something about it's the narrative on this person is a little suspect. When you talk about the passed over thing, I remember hearing something about that and hearing the whole story and going, "Oh, okay, whatever." It's something to make them look good.
Well, that's why I kind of said she's being considered as passed over. I mean, who could say? Was she passed over because she failed the test?
Yeah, right.
Or did she legitimately outperform every other astronaut, and they're just like, well, sorry, we can only send penises into space
because that happens in 2021. But sure.
Well, no, 1960.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, she's older.
Yeah, she was the original space program. She was considered passed over for that.
No.
So, I don't know if.
I'm sure sending an elderly person into space will right that wrong then. Well, she's got to be, 70? You talking about she was in the 60s?
Yeah, well, she's the oldest.
That's 60. 1961 is 60 years ago.
Yeah. She's the oldest person to be sent into space. She's age 82.
Oh, Jesus. Is she going to be all right? Did they come back yet? Did she make it?
Yeah, I think they already made it back. They made it back, and Jeff's already planning future trips. As a matter of fact, he's approaching $100 million in pre-sales for trips to the ionosphere.
He said he found a spot up there to put an Amazon Dropbox, so it's all good.
Yeah. You go up there just to get your package.
Right.
He says the demand is very high. How many?
But you're not going to space. That's
what I'm... Yeah, so people are just going to pay to ride up into the ionosphere and then come back. They're not even going to be really hanging out in space.
It's like the world's longest space needle. You go up really high, you come back down. If I don't look out the window and it doesn't look like fucking... like I'm looking out the window of the Enterprise, I'm not in space.
Yeah, I need to see full Earth curvature, man.
Yeah, I need to see the planet. Yeah. I need to see...
And if not, can we at least crack the windows on the way down so we can and put our hands up?
So our heads can all explode?
Yeah. No, just on re-entry, Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Are they even going through re-entry? Because when isn't re-entry when you're actually going through that part?
That's true. They don't. Yeah, they're not actually leaving, so they're not actually re-entering.
Because isn't re-entry you have to penetrate the atmosphere? You have to get back into the atmosphere.
The whole heat shield thing on the the space shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
That's people. We're so used to seeing that. Actually, this is another thing that Neil deGrasse Tyson has pointed out. He's like, in movies, you always see objects re-entering Earth's atmosphere, and they start burning up in the, and people think, because, they're traveling so fast and the friction, just any little particle would, he's like, no, that's not how it works. Objects, no matter how big the object is, it just free falls. It doesn't burn up just because it goes through a certain part or achieves a certain speed. The heat shield on the shuttle that's its brakes. So what we see, the heat produced, is the heat shield doing the job of turning the energy of the movement of the incoming shuttle into the atmosphere and turning that energy into heat so it can be dissipated, and then they slow down.
Gotcha. So causing friction to slow it down.
Right. It's purposely finding friction to slow its.
That's how brakes work.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's just air brakes, like literally air brakes. And so that's so that it can slow down to the point where it can actually level out and land and everything. And the same for in returning capsules, because if you didn't slow them down, they would just continue and just plummet right into the earth and cause a big crater.
Yeah. Boom.
So it's interesting. But yeah, next time, and they still do it in movies, like superhero stuff. A couple superheroes will go up into space and punch each other, and one will get knocked down to Earth. And then you see that little fire halo come around them, like they're burning up on re-entry, and maybe their clothes burn off of them. Yeah, that's not how it works, really. You'd have to have certain material shaped in the right way to catch that friction to actually produce that effect. What else is going on? There's nothing. Everyone's talking about Bezos in the news.
It's been Bezos and Britney.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we going to say about Britney?
Nothing.
Everybody else hasn't said. Yeah.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of this.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock. Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock. Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
I don't know. I got out on the town this last weekend.
What'd you do?
I went to a party. I went to the
With other humans?
Yeah. I went to a party where they played techno music.
With your bare face?
Yes, I didn't. I actually didn't see anybody else with a mask there either.
Oh man,
I have no idea if I'm vaccinated. We don't have to go into all this again. But what did I get the vaccine for?
But Aaron, 4 people out of 300 million have died, aren't you? Or no, 10 people out of 100 million have gotten COVID, and they've been vaccinated. Aaron, aren't you scared?
Not in the least.
That's. Yeah, whenever I hear these stories, all I just think about is do the math. Do the math. Do the math. You're telling me about a dozen cases. How many vaccines have been administered? Do the math.
It's all anecdotal.
Yes. So you're telling me I have a 99-point-something% chance of not getting infected again? I'm good with that. Stop talking about the outliers. But anyway, yes, you partied.
Yeah, I mean, the place wasn't super packed, but there were enough people there, and I don't know. There's no social distancing or anything like that, and who knows if... Anyway.
But you went to a party...
I'm getting derailed.
Like in a warehouse?
No, it wasn't a warehouse. It was set up like a warehouse-style party, but it was definitely in a legal venue. There's just... You can't get away with it in Detroit anymore, doing the illegal venues.
Well, they've knocked half of them down, too.
They've, and they've, been able to work out things. I think, didn't Detroit extend their liquor sales hours? Isn't there places that can apply for like 4 a.m. licenses?
I believe right before COVID hit, that became a thing, at least in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, so now, they're maybe not going all night, but they're, going to 4 a.m. I mean, that's all night enough for my ass.
Hey, technically, this time of year, sun rises in about an hour after 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it was at City Club, which is known locally for its Gothic night that they have done for a long, long time. But it was in a separate area that they call the Labyrinth, but still there were 2 separate rooms for this party.
Were you getting your Bauhaus on?
No, this was straight up techno. Nothing but techno at this thing.
No Sisters of Mercy?
It was what, the commoners might refer to as a rave, although I've never really talked to anyone in Detroit that's ever called any party a rave. We just call them parties.
But was it was the music of the late 90s, mid 90s era, or was it this new garbage?
It was not garbage. It was it was just good techno. It's not any of the the dubstep or anything.
So you didn't hear wah 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 all night? That would drive me insane.
People are still out there making and playing just good techno, just straight up good danceable techno tracks that aren't annoying or dubsteppy or wobbly or whatever.
Here comes a drop, bro. Wah 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 wah. None of that.
But for me, no, definitely none of that shit. But for me, it was like a small class reunion, or as close as I'll ever get to one. I didn't keep in touch with anybody.
I had one of those a few years ago. That's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
A friend of mine got married, and it essentially turned into Rob St. Mary. But
right, yeah.
But it essentially turned into our 20-year reunion. Because it was it happened to be around 20 years, so a bunch of people hadn't seen it in a while. It was an interesting night.
Yeah, I went there alone, not knowing if I would run into anyone. I knew by the DJs that were there, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to run into at least 1 or 2 people that I know that I can say hi to and not look like a complete weirdo. But I wasn't really concerned about that. I just legitimately wanted to go someplace where I could hear techno in the environment it was meant to be heard in and just kind of lose myself in a speaker for a little while. And I definitely got all that, but I actually ran into more people that I knew. An ex that I dated, I think more than 20 years ago. All right,
was time better to you or her? Who won?
I would say we're tied.
All right.
And, And of course, I'm having all kinds of stupid thoughts.
Like what?
But,
let's try hit it again. Why not?
I mean, why not?
Hey, you let me hit it 20 years ago.
We got to be smarter than the shit that we did when we were...
Right.
Well, look, it's not really based on anything. That's the thing. 20 years go by, we're completely different people. And it's not like we had some kind of long-term relationship at the time. It was, I want to say, maybe 4 months that we were together.
Hey, still. Hey, you thought it was cool 20 years ago.
And it ended around the time where she slept with my ex-girlfriend.
I mean,
my ex-girlfriend
there's worse ways to break up.
Was my current girlfriend in order to stick it to me, I guess. The only thing that made me mad really was that I wasn't there to watch. But
say, joke's on them. You jerked off to that.
Yeah.
Teach me a lesson, huh?
Yeah.
Cup or butt cheeks.
So yeah, it was interesting. It was a fun time. I had to actually so I went out both Friday and Saturday night. Friday night I went out to a party that was like like I was describing. It was very traditional and ran into people that I knew. It was a very comfortable environment. And then the next night was just a total chance. I was just sitting there with nothing to do. I was like, well, fuck it. Why don't I go out? There's shit out there. So I went out to what looked like it would be an interesting party, billed as they were going to be playing like, new wave and goth and classic techno and all kinds of like fun shit. And I was like, oh, this sounds, and they're also like, this is a little bit classier party. Like we don't, we're not trying to do like a dirty rave type of environment thing. It's like, think more like a loft party. I'm like, all right. So I put on a button up shirt, tucked it in even, got myself, put on some real shoes and went out there, and it was just all kids, and well, it was actually it was a really interesting crowd though, right? It was a really interesting crowd because it was like super diverse. It was like, I don't know, just everyone, but like I said, mostly younger, like really flamboyant gays and some drag queens and total like Jocko Homo dudes as well. And like not an argument anywhere, like super chill crowd. The DJs were horrible. I almost bailed on it. I was like so downtrodden. I paid $20 to get in the place. I didn't think it was going to be that much. I'm like, I'm not going to get all the way here and then go like, too rich for my blood. So fuck it. I came here, give them my $20. I sit down, and then like some annoying track starts playing. I go and check out the scene. I'm like, oh man, this is like a mistake. This is not my scene at all. But you know what? I ended up making the most of it, and I stayed almost for the entire thing and ended up having a fun time. While the DJs were not great, I'll give it to them. They were playing shit that nobody else was playing. And it was just kind of, it was almost like a dollar bin find of techno tracks. Like every like remix that nobody ever listened to on the B-side of, the Bjork single or whatever.
So it's somebody trying to, someone consciously trying to swim upstream, one of those type of people. I'm going to mix together all the stuff nobody knows. Cool.
I think
you're going to have a room full of people staring at you going, what the fuck?
Mixing up with some class. I mean, you throw some Technotronic in there and people are like, yeah, I know their song. But look, one of them played Little Fluffy Clouds by The Orb. And I was like, whoa, like losing my mind. Just not because that's some great dance song, but because I've never had the opportunity to to hear that track in a club with a nice system and be able to actually dance to it. And it's a good track.
And the DJ probably went, oh shit, the old guy liked it. Got to change it up.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were playing mostly old shit. That's the thing. Like, initially I went out to my car and I was like, I was going to leave and I could hear the club from my car. So I was like, well, I'll just see what else they play. I'm like, look at the clock. It's about 1:45. I go, all right, he's got 15 minutes to play something that I find interesting or else I'm out of here. And of course, that's when they drop a Bjork track and I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, fine.
What track?
We're going back in. Let's see if we can make the most of it. Violently Happy. It was like a house remix of Violently Happy from the first album.
All right.
Yeah, good track.
That would keep me around. Like, all right.
Yeah.
What else you got? Although, you know what helps bad DJs? Booze.
Yeah.
Have a couple drinks.
Not a drinker anymore, but I was getting high as fuck out on the patio, so.
You get a little altered. A bad DJ just blends into the background.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's almost like they're two different experiences for me. Like, techno music is kind of serious to me. It's been a lifelong love, not lifelong love, but ever since I was like 18, fell in love with techno. I've listened to it ever since. And, I'm a connoisseur of it. But at the same time, I acknowledge that there's a lot of this music that's just meant to be party, fun music, And And sometimes, I and many others, especially in Detroit, take this shit way too seriously. And there's no reason for me to, try and get on my high horse because these guys aren't, the best at beat matching or, don't have, aren't super crate diggers that have dumped thousands of dollars into rare records and, finding just the right combination. They're just get up there having fun.
Trust me, even when you were in bands too, you'd always run into play with bands who were super serious or musicians who were big giant assholes, and I'd always end up having the thought when dealing with those people, aren't we all doing this because it's fun? Isn't this the number one reason why we're all doing this? We have fun while we do it.
Right. So I was kind of happy that I stuck it out and made the most of it, and ended up having a good time.
Socializing.
And now I'm hooked again.
And you're like, doing things, other people.
Well, it's kind of, not only is it an environment that I'm familiar with, though, it's kind of the perfect environment for me because I'm not I'm not a big socializer at parties. So if I was going to cocktail parties or something, I'm always the dude in the corner that, I might find one weirdo to talk to about Shark Week or something. But, I'm not gather around people, let me entertain you with my stories.
See, I'm usually the person that floats around.
Yeah.
Trust me, I have my moments where I'm the weirdo in the corner too. But it's usually I'm going to just go around, talk to these people, go around, talk to these people, go around, and then I'll find
butterfly.
And then, it just circulate, and then I'll find my corner. If that makes any sense. See who's there, talk to everyone, and then I'll go hang out with one person the whole night.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, it was a bunch of us hanging out, going to parties and shit. You wouldn't really go to them alone. But that didn't mean that I wouldn't go to a party alone. And also, I'd done that plenty of times. And also, while I was there, I wasn't necessarily tied to anyone that I came with, unless I was there with somebody I was dating or something. But even then, I'm off on an adventure,
The people I knew that went to parties alone either really liked techno or really liked drugs.
I liked both, yeah. I just wanted some acid and some good techno and just get lost. I'll find you in a couple hours. Nobody's going anywhere.
Although when we did go to that was, all right, we're going to meet back here at 1. All right, cool. And if you ran into each other, you ran into each other. And if you didn't, you didn't.
So I guess speaking of drugs, we should speak on drugs.
Where'd you learn that one, Cheech? Drug school?
Yeah. And also speaking of music venues and cannabis, DTE Energy is apparently getting a weed store inside of it.
I saw that. Is it a lounge?
I
didn't click on the story.
Lounge, actually.
I figured we'd talk about it. I didn't click on it. Will this be the first cannabis lounge in Michigan?
It looks to be. Long-term plan is for Loom. This is from the Metro Times. To actually sell products for consumption at the concert venue. So Loom is the dispensary that's going to be operating inside it. No. Apparently, the biggest cannabis company in Michigan with 21 dispensaries.
Mm-hmm. No, I applied to work for them many times over the last few months.
Oh yeah,
they're everywhere.
Yeah, well, they're apparently expanding. They're going to have 40 locations by the end of this year.
Man, now this is going to get me to go back to a concert just to be I went to DTE Energy and bought the weed. Just to be how many times I snuck weed in here? Now I can buy it here?
So Loom, yeah, right. Loom will be the official cannabis provider of the DTE Energy Music Theater. Which, why is it? It's DTE Energy, but isn't the E and DTE stand for energy? So isn't it Detroit? What does DTE stand for anyways?
Well, it used to be Detroit Edison.
Oh, right. And then it became DTE. Right.
Let's see what DTE.
Detroit Thomas Edison? It doesn't stand for anything, does it? John Gregory, Chief Marketing Officer.
Stands for Detroit Edison. Apparently, it's Detroit Edison. Maybe it's their stock abbreviation.
Probably. John Gregory, Chief Marketing Officer for Loom, says, we're trying to take cannabis out of the shadows and put it in the spotlights and get it into the culturally mainstream events. Guess what, dude? It's already there.
Right? Now you could just make money off of it there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it confirmed DTE was selected because it was the existing stock symbol for Detroit Edison. So there.
Yep. That makes sense.
That. Whatever. To us, it's Pine Knob anyways. Fuck off. It's the electric
Pine
companies.
Knob, where I saw, 2 out of the 4 Lollapaloozas that I saw.
And it's called, what's it, DTE, is it the amphitheater or music theater?
Music theater. DTE Energy Music Theater is its full name.
Now, will this be the first type of this in the country?
Yeah,
because I'm not hearing about one of these at Red Rocks out in Denver.
Right. I think so. I mean, this story and others that I saw about it talked about how it would be the first for Michigan, but I've seen no talk about where does this exist anywhere else.
Like, I don't think there's a weed store at the Hollywood Bowl yet.
Let's see. The new agreement with DTE Energy kicks off on Saturday, July 24th. Hey, that's my birthday.
Oh.
With a CBD-focused sort of athletic event, Yoga on the Lawn, led by Citizen Yoga founder Casey Must, will take place on the Hill along with a DJ set by Mehul.
Dude, that's a lot of yoga pants in one spot.
There will also be wellness products provided by Loom. I might be going there.
Well, I'm also recently single.
Yeah,
weed.
And I yoga.
There's a lot of weed and yoga pants. I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing Saturday?
I'll pretend to like yoga.
I got to find out more about this. Like, is this a ticketed event or? I mean, I don't know if this is like worth my $30, but if they're just having a thing where people are hanging out.
If I see 30 pairs of yoga pants for $30, that's
yeah, that's a pretty good return.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, ladies, you have to know. Yoga pants have been a thing for like 15 years. You have to know what your ass looks like in them. You have to at this point, because I'm sure guys like us will have let you know.
Oh, we're gonna break it down for you right here on the Weedsman, ladies. All right, sit down. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you wear the yoga pants, we can see everything.
Yes, we could tell you're not wearing underwear.
Yeah.
See, we're quiet right now because we're thinking about an ass and yoga pants.
I was thinking about yoga. Actually, you know what I was thinking about is that yoga pants used to be like flared, didn't they?
Well, yeah, in the what was it, the mid 2000s?
Well, yeah, everything was Canada pants. That's what they used to call them around here, at least.
Well, I mean, when you get in the late 90s, I mean, with the stupid, crazy fat pants, those were ridiculous. Yes. But I had the fat pants. I had straight up bell bottoms in high school. But in the early and mid 2000s, the ladies' pants, y'all had a flare. Y'all bell bottoms were kind of a thing.
All of them.
And that's how yoga pants started. And now
I think by the end of the 90s, it started to slim down. But beginning of the 90s, def.
But I mean, yoga pants, they started with the flare. But now, I mean, ladies, they're a second skin. I mean, again, this is not a complaint. It's how they've evolved. And Aaron's right. When you bend over, we know what it looks like. Just saying. We could at least see the outline.
Well, imagine a little event. You get to just go and eat some weed brownies and sit in a lawn chair and watch females do yoga.
Now, I think to a 22-year-old, it sounds like we're going to go sexually assault people on Saturday. Hey, we're just there for the weed and for the scenery and to hit on single moms.
Hey, as long as there's still no such thing as mind crimes, I'm okay.
Right. No, keep going. Give us 10 years.
Yeah.
I saw a meme today that says, hey, I wrote a book about this shit. He said George Orwell.
Yeah. Well, apparently, there's been some like huge genealogy program with cannabis they did, and they broke down, they broke down everything into like categories, and were able to trace back all the way to the beginning of the cannabis drug.
Yep, and shocking, cannabis is a POC. Who'd have thought?
I didn't get to the end of the article yet. What was the origin?
Asia.
Oh, yeah.
So weed comes from Asia, which it makes sense if you think of the climate on most of the continent and the conditions it needs to grow.
Yep. So they broke it down into categories, and I thought this was kind of interesting. So there's basil cannabis is the first category. This is
like on my spaghetti, basil.
This is everything. Yeah, I don't know. Well, no. Is it spelled the same? BASAL. Basil.
Oh no, basil is
like basil is with an EL, right?
No, the spice is with an I. BASIL.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm not what. Maybe basil is derived from base, like it's a baseline, like what we know as cannabis.
It's all about that base.
But yeah, they're describing that as basically anything that we know of as cannabis now.
Base Patrol.
All the cultivated strains that we have in contemporary society. Then there's hemp, which pretty self-explanatory. It's just all the current strains that are grown for hemp around the world.
Weed's shitty cousin who doesn't like to have any fun. Hemp.
And then they have first group of drug cannabis. It says this group includes wild strains of cannabis with drug-like properties similar to marijuana. And then the second group of drug cannabis includes varieties of cannabis with drug-like properties that have been cultivated around the world.
What do you mean drug? Like, what do they mean? Like, fucking weed acid hybrid? Like, what are they talking about?
No, I think what they're looking at is they're kind of working backwards. I think actually those should be in the reverse order, but they're looking at current strains and then wild grown strains from history and plants that may have developed into cannabis.
Damn. Okay, it's
so
it's me assigning a different meaning to the word wild. You said wild. You're like naturally occurring. I'm thinking like that shit is wild.
Yeah, no.
I smoked that shit and tripped for 9 hours. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. No, not wild, like super strong.
Yeah.
Like naturally occurring, I should say. Yeah, they found origin of cultivated or domesticated cannabis can be traced to East Asia.
Feral weed.
So really that's saying not necessarily that the origins of cannabis came from East Asia, but that's where the origins of cultivation came from, where they first started taking the drug and, doing something with it, processing it, smoking it, putting in something, making a tea out of it, who knows?
So basically the people in East Asia went, what if we smoked this?
Which makes sense because they were on the forefront of, at the time, pretty much all technology and medicine, certainly.
Well, isn't that a question we posed like at the beginning of this podcast? Like at some point, somebody went, "Hey, what if we smoked this?"
Yeah.
Well, we now know they were in East Asia.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you, East Asia. Now I'm going to hit my vaporizer in tribute to you.
Also, the source for most of the common magic tricks that we know in the Western world. The source of magic and drugs. Thank you, East Asia.
How come the Middle East gets all this credit for civilization when it really, if you really look at history, a lot of it was like China?
Well, I mean, it definitely had its role in pushing society forward.
I mean, there is a spot in Iraq called the Cradle of Civilization.
Right.
It's thought to be where
a misnomer.
Yeah, where all life sprang from. I said, China seems to have some really heavy world influence on things in general.
That in Africa, yeah.
Thank you for weed, China. Now lighten up and smoke this.
You can thank Africa for all your stringed instruments.
That's true, and weren't they like animal guts?
Not that China didn't have them, it's just none of those kind of made it into our culture.
Well, they're musical people, Aaron.
All people are music. No. It's like calling them really talkative.
Right.
All right. Well, I think we're done then.
All right. Yeah. What happened to the? Wasn't Schumer going to legalize cannabis a week ago? Did that thing just die?
Oh no! I mean, it had its that was its unveiling, but I don't think that they didn't even really set a schedule for it. They didn't say like we're looking to have this approved by this or that date.
Well, I just recall us being very underwhelmed by the bill. Going, what are you really doing?
Yeah, it's another attempt.
Yeah,
one of them's going to stick eventually.
Mm-hmm. All right. So follow us on the social media. We're on Twitter at the Weisman420, on Instagram at the Weisman Podcast. Like us on Facebook. Email the Weisman Podcast at ChristopherMedia.net if you would like to drop us a line. Wherever you listen to us, rate us, review us. We'd appreciate it. While you're at ChristopherMedia.net too, hit the Amazon banner, hit the PayPal button if you would like to help us out. And stay high.
Stay high. Cool.
Summer is here, and it's time to say goodbye to your old vacation and say hello to Camelback Resort. Stay at Camelback Lodge. The suites are all newly renovated. Splash at Aquatopia Indoor Water Park or Camel Beach Outdoor Water Park. Over 50 rides, slides, and attractions. Play at Camelback Mountain Adventures. Take the fun off-road with the new Switchback UTV tours. Just 90 minutes from New York and the Pocono Mountains. That's where we want to be this summer, at Camelback. Book your summer getaway today at CamelbackResort.com.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.